Have you been struggling with your push-ups and can't figure out how to get things right? Well, don't worry about it. My name's Varun and I'm here to help you upgrade your push-up game. We're going to learn how to do push-ups straight away from the ground up, literally. And hopefully you will be, by the end of this class, hopefully you'll be doing some of the best push-ups of your life, which will translate into other areas of your practice. So let's get to it. Let's get the fundamentals and technicals down first. First things first, how do you interact with the ground? So your hands and the ground. So I'm just going to take my hands back, my feet back. And when I see the word push-up, what comes to mind? You know, like normally we go to the gym, the hands go further out, and we end up doing something like this, which is a push-up. Now I want you to look at my hand. When I open my wrist, my elbows out, the wrist comes at a very weird angle. So I'm trying to like push and my shoulders fully compress. So I'm not really pressing, I'm kind of fighting gravity in such an awkward way. And it's the first area where you start to lose the strength. Because if you're fighting against gravity rather than working with gravity, that's extra work you have to do. So keeping that in mind, how can you upgrade your push-ups with the way you interact with the ground? First things first, instead of taking the hands so far out, bring the hands closer in. So instead of going somewhere here, bring the hands over here. So you see the difference. I was over here. Now my hands are here. So the trick is when I do push-ups, I always like to consider my wrist under my shoulders. So take a look down, notice where your shoulders are, notice where your wrists are, and maybe you have your wrist under your shoulders. If you do not, make adjustments. And again, notice if the hands go, if your chest goes forward or if your chest is back. Most likely your chest is way back here. If you're somewhere back here, you're fighting gravity again because you're trying to go down, but your elbows are not going to work so well. So you want to get your shoulders over the wrist. So keep that in mind. Shoulders over wrist, good posture. Shoulders somewhere here, you're going to be fighting gravity. Shoulders somewhere here, gravity won the game before you even got started. So cool. With that being said, let's make the changes and work into our first push-ups in our practice today. You can stay on your knees. You do not have to go into a full push-up. Maybe by the end of this, in the next few minutes, you might do your first push-up, but not yet. No need to rush. Step by step. So take your hands down. Activate the fingers so your fingertips are nice and full. Press your shoulder blades up. So notice this is the shoulder blades falling down. This is the shoulder blades going up. And try and roll the eyes of the elbows forward. When I say the eyes of the elbows, I mean common consciousness, speak of yoga teachers. You want this little part in your elbow to kind of move forward, but not lock out the hands. You know, it's kind of like this little thing that you get used to doing after a while where you're able to kind of, you know, start to press into this part of the hand, and that helps you move a bit forward. So you want to roll the eyes with the elbows forward, make sure your shoulders are over the wrist. Okay? Try that a few times. I know it takes a little getting used to, but the whole idea is this avoids the elbows opening. So you don't want the elbows to go out, you want the elbows to go back. You must have seen birds or crows, they have this 90-degree angle in their feet. So that's a very stable position for the hands to be in. So it's the same idea. You don't want the hands to go out, you want the hands to go in. And the best way to do that is to roll your hands into your body. Cool. Part 2. Let's take the first push-ups. So have your knees on the ground. Have your wrists and your shoulders aligned. Fill up your shoulder blades. And now feel like you, instead of going forward, you start to just go down and come up. So you're not trying to touch anything, you're not trying to do anything, you're not aiming for anything. You're just pressing your shoulders up and you feel the weight going down and then you press up. Interesting, right? Now notice when you do this, does your elbows open out or do they scooch within your frame of your body? So once you're here, now try to take the chest a bit further forward. Take the nose forward, bring it back up. And now that's suddenly in intermediate mode. You start feeling the tension, right? Elbows start to open. Lock the elbows in. When I say lock, I don't mean like, you lock out the wrists. No. Make sure the elbows go into the body, all right? So press your shoulder blades up, take your chest forward, bend the elbows, try and go as low as you can, and come up. Now, if that feels groovy, if that feels nice, try and touch your nose to the ground and come back up. Even if you've done push-ups your entire life and that comes easy to you, this one could be tricky, right? Because when you take in your chest forward, the weight is going forward and it's a new movement pattern. It starts to cook you up. I start to feel it. If I do a few of these, going at the pace that I'm teaching you, I feel it. So look down again, make sure your elbows are under your shoulders, wrists are under your shoulders, bending the elbows back, filling up your shoulder blades, taking your chest further out. So you notice I'm just going down and then coming back up. So we'll just take a few, bending your knees, your heels can lift, touching your nose, coming back up. That one's a cooker, all right? You can feel it in the hands, you can feel it in the elbows. That is the goal. We're trying to get the elbows in, and we're trying to take our nose and chest forward. So at the end of the day, from your hands being out here, it's somewhere by your chest. So when you extend, your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrist, all three are on the same line. And when you go down, you're trying to take the chest forward so the elbows come behind the line of your chest, the main line. I want to say where your nipples are, but you understand what I mean. But everyone's chest is shaped differently, so I can't use that reference, even though I'm laughing in my head like a child. I can't use that reference because everyone's bodies are so different. But the idea is you want to bring it closer to the mid-chest rather than the upper chest. So you bring it somewhere down here and the chest goes forward. So if you see, as you press up, you're aligned. Once you press in, it comes further back. However, when you're further back, when you're actually on the flow, the hand makes like a 90-degree angle. That's the trick. Now look at the angle of my hand. When I press up, my hand and shoulder, everything is straight. And as I go forward, my hand starts to turn into this crow-like 90-degree angle, right? I'm getting a little bit of a wiggle in my hands, and that's really normal. So my wrist doesn't really go back. It just goes down. That one's tricky because I don't always get this perfect posture, or the cues don't always align with me all the time. It's just something that when fatigue comes into the game, it kind of exits the door. But that's okay. We are working towards it. Okay, take a few, pause the video, take a few, try it again. And this is a good place to stop. It's a good place if you're starting to get the first style of push-ups. Pause here, don't worry about it. This is it. Keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. However, if you feel like this has come easy or you've taken a few days to try it out, let's get on to the next one. This is where we're going to lift the feet off the ground, the knees off the ground, and try the full push-ups. So, same idea. You start on a plank, your feet kick back, so you find a nice long line in your plank, and I'm going to try and take my nose forward, so my toes are pushing forward. I'm looking, before I do that, if my shoulders over my wrist, rolling the eyes of the elbows forward, chin goes out, straightening the knees, bending the elbows, and trying to go down, and then push myself back up. So notice every little point, rolling the eyes with the elbow forward, pressing the hands down, and slowly bending, taking the chin forward, and then lifting back up. So as you can see, it's a cool game to play. It's a nice way to build into strength and capacity. However, it's not something that I gave any counts. I didn't ask you to go to your biggest range. The whole idea is to feel where your elbows are, how do you move, and how can you connect with the ground under you. It's as simple as that. So no matter how old you are, no matter what gender you are, no matter what you've been struggling with, if you follow these basic points, it is extremely easy to be able to do a push-up. And who knows, maybe you can handle some of the strength classes that's on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know how your push-up journey goes. And I'm so excited to see if you are crushing it by the end of your practice. So thank you so much for practicing. Have a wonderful day. Peace.